this video, I would like to discuss about the jury system which is abolished in India by 1970s. In fact, in 1960s onwards, it is abolished. And in fact, please don't forget, according to our constitution, a Supreme Court judge, a person who was a judge of a high court for at least 5 years, or an advocate in a high court or Supreme Court for at least 10 years, or an eminent jurist can be appointed as the judge of the Supreme Court. So, what do you mean by this jury system? Why was it abolished? This is a discussion I would like to make, a small discussion, the jury system, and why was it abolished. So, a jury, and a definition, the official definition is a jury is a sworn body of people, or it's a body of jurors. It's a body of jurors convened, or it's specially called to render an impartial verdict, called to render an impartial verdict, to provide an impartial verdict which is official on a question which is officially submitted to them by a court, on a question officially submitted to them by a court. Okay, and they can give the judgment, they can give their view, and this jury system. So it's a body of jurors, a group of people, and who are called in to give an impartial verdict about on officially given to them on a question officially given to them by a court. And this jury system developed in England during the Middle Ages. Okay, if you look at the history, it was developed in England in the Middle Ages, and it is part of the English law, or rather it is a hallmark of the English law. In fact, even today, some of the countries in Great Britain, in US, in Canada, in Australia, in Britain, in USA, in Canada, in Australia, this jury system still continues in one or other form. And so, what do you mean by jury trial? A jury trial or a trial by jury. Okay, it's called a trial by jury or jury trial is a lawful proceeding. It's it's under the law. Okay, it's a lawful proceeding in which jury makes a decision or it will do the fact finding activity. Okay, the jury will take the decision, will make the decision. The jury will make the decision, and it is distinguished. It is totally different from a bench trial, that where the judges will try. So it is different, and it is distinguished. It is different from the bench trial. Okay, it is totally different from a bench trial in which judges or a judge or a panel of judges will make the decision. Here, a group of people, ordinary citizens who are the jury members, will make the decision. So a jury trial or the trial by jury is a legal proceeding. A group of ordinary citizens will make the decision. Please remember, in jury, a group of ordinary citizens make the decision or participate in the fact finding or participate in the fact finding. A group of ordinary citizens participate, and they can even direct the actions of a judge. I mean, then they can give that. So most of the jury, then there are different types of juries. One is called the petit juries, where 12 members will be there, so 12 people. A larger jury is known as a grand jury. Another is where larger bench or a larger number of people are involved, called a grand jury can be there. And in India, if you look at the history a bit, the jury trial started with the British, In fact, the first case was decided by an English jury in 1665. In India, if you look at the history, the first case was decided by an English jury in 1665. But the last of the jury case, or the most famous, most controversial, was related to, or rather a case, a murder case, Commander K.M. Nanavati versus State of Maharashtra case. Commander K.M. Nanavati versus State of Maharashtra case. K.M. Nanavati as a commander in Navy, and he was accused, or rather he was accused of murdering the the lover of his wife. Okay, so he was accused. There was a case was in 1959. The case happened in 1959, in April 1959. Nanavati, armed with his service revolver, barged into the house of his wife's lover and murdered him. And then this led to section 302, murder, and Nanavati was declared not guilty. Now what happened was that his case was trial, or this trial was done by, it was a jury trial. Okay, the sessions court conducted a jury trial. So a jury was created and the jury tried the way the sessions court, the judge will be doing it. Here a jury trial was conducted, and in that jury trial Nanavati was declared not guilty, even though Nanavati was declared not guilty. In fact, the verdict was challenged in the High Court, and the Bombay High Court dismissed this verdict, and finally he was retried, a bench trial was conducted, and he was punished, and he was given life imprisonment in 1961. But finally the Supreme Court gave him life imprisonment to him. Gave life imprisonment to him. So that was in 1961. So this Nanavati case became India's first. In fact, this was so much of discussion and so much. There was no TV channels in those days, but it was the first media trial, first major media trial. Media interfered, and it polarized the society. And some newspapers took up this matter in a big way on a daily basis. A lot of articles and updates were given. People used to throng to the where the jury trial was conducted. People used to leave office and go to watch the trial which is going on. Even women, even men, all. It was a big frenzy in Bombay, a media frenzy, public hysteria, a cocktail of gossip influenced the opinion around the case. Ultimately, a lot of gossips were there, media, when public hysteria was there, media gossips, everything, a media frenzy, everything. So it was a right combination, the way it has happened in India, that Sushant murder case, or rather that the suicide case, and the way the media has created a hype. The same thing happened in this Nanavati case in 1960s, early 1960s. And because of the influence of the public support, influenced by the public support for the culprit, and there are a lot of support for this commander. Nanavati was so much of support by the people, but that doesn't mean that he did not murder. He committed the murder. He is the culprit, no doubt, but public sympathy was with him because of the media trial. And because of the same thing, it influenced the decision of the jury, and jury could not filter fact from fiction. That is what many people have said. The jury failed to filter facts from fiction. It failed to filter facts from fiction, and Nanavati was sent to jail finally. But even though the jury released them, acquitted him, but finally Supreme Court, second trial, retrial was conducted, bench trial was conducted, and Nanavati was found to be the culprit, and he was sentenced and life imprisonment, but under public pressure at that time. You know, the Maharashtra governor at that time, Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, pardoned him after 3 years. He spent 3 years in prison. Nanavati spent 3 years in prison ultimately. I am just telling you what happened to him finally. He spent only 3 years in jail. He was pardoned by the governor of Maharashtra at that time. Vijay Lakshmi Pandit was the governor of Maharashtra at that time. And that is how Nanavati case became so sensational. And because of the public support only, he was released or he was pardoned. But this became and that has created a lot of skepticism and doubt about the jury trial. So because of it got influenced, since it got influenced by the public opinion and the media frenzy and all, this has created a lot of doubts in the mind, doubts about jury trial. So this proved that the jury can easily be influenced, even by if a media is hell bent to do something. That's what we are seeing right now. The TV channels are doing the same thing right now. But in 1960, of course, TV channels were not there, luckily. But this proved that it can be really influenced. The jury can easily be influenced by these kind of public activity. So that is how finally the jury system was abolished in India when the CRPC was amended. I think in 1973, finally, since then, since the Nanavati trial, not many cases were given to jury, and ultimately this was abolished through an amendment in the Criminal Procedure Code, and there is no more jury system in India right now. It lost its appeal, and people started questioning the the integrity of the jury, and that is how in 1960s the jury system was abolished in India, and everything, and change in the law was made by early 1970s, and that is how the jury system ended. So there were jury system in India. It is a legacy of British system, and it is continued in some parts of the world, especially in US, Canada, Australia, etc. It is still there, not in a big way. So jury system has not been abolished in these countries, but in most of the South Asian countries we have already abolished it. So that's about the jury system, which is not there, which was the last most sensational case was this Commander Nanavati case. So that is how, and because of the failure of the jury to come up with an impartial judgment, this ultimately led to public opinion against the jury system, and the jury system was finally abolished in India, or it has been removed from the Indian criminal jurisprudence.